Palestine, over 7,200 citizens have been illegally detained by Israel in the occupied West Bank since October 7th. In Venezuela, the Foreign Minister Ivan Gil received his counterpart from Türkiye in order to strengthen bilateral relations and cooperation between both countries. And French farmers stormed an agricultural show calling for President Emmanuel Macron's resignation as the president toured the fairgrounds. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos, and from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba, we begin with the news. In Palestine, over 7,225 citizens, including 80 women, have been illegally detained by Israel in the occupied West Bank since October 7th. In a statement issued by the Prisoners Club, they denounced that since October 7th, more than 2,800 administrative detention orders have been issued by the military, a practice they claim is part of the aggression strategy against Palestinians and the ongoing genocide in the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian organization condemned the torture and ill treatment of detainees by Israeli forces. According to human rights groups, administrative detentions violate due judicial process because it allows for no evidence to be presented against prisoners while they are detained for long periods without charges, trial, or conviction. Also in Palestine, Israeli occupation forces carried out a total of 8 massacres in the last weekend, killing at least 92 people and wounding 123 others in the Gaza Strip. On the 142nd day of the total siege, 8 citizens were killed and others were wounded after bombing several houses in the Al-Nusayrat, Al-Bureish, and Deir al-Balah in the center of the Palestinian enclave. On the other hand, on the east of Rafah city, occupation planes bombed 2 houses, killing 5 citizens and injuring others. In this context, Doctors Without Borders reported that the population in the northern Gaza Strip is suffering from severe starvation and a catastrophic health condition.
I was at my apartment and I heard a loud explosion. I came down and all I could see was darkness. I found martyrs, a lot of people on site, and ambulances. I must say that there's no safe place in the entire Gaza Strip. We are all targeted whenever we are.
And we stay in Palestine, where women released by Israeli occupation forces denounced being victims of mistreatment and physical abuse in the jails of the Zionist entity. Physical and verbal harassment was consistent for 51 days of detention, they recalled. And they also said they were forced to strip naked for daily inspections they described as humiliating. Moreover, they endured continuous interrogation lasting up to 12 hours, blindfolded and sometimes handcuffed by hands and feet, while they remained exposed to the weather conditions without any adequate protection. The relatives of Palestinians arbitrarily detained by Israel claim to have had no news of them. Defense associations for Palestinian prisoners claim that Palestinian detainees have no access to visits from their relatives or representatives of the International Red Cross who could provide information on their health. Human rights associations warn that since the beginning of the Israeli siege against Gaza, Palestinian living conditions have deteriorated as violence and arbitrary detentions have increased. According to these associations, since October 7th, the number of detainees increased from around 5,200 to 9,000. The Lebanese government has denounced the construction of illegal settlements by Israel in the occupied West Bank. The Lebanese foreign minister condemned such actions by the Tel Aviv regime, calling on the international community to put pressure on Israel to demand an immediate ceasefire. He added that only a fair solution would bring peace to the Middle East, so as to put an end to conflicts that have been spanning over 76 years and to consolidate stability in the region. The Palestinian Authority joined this call and expressed its rejection of the construction of over 3,330 homes in 3 colonies of the occupied Jerusalem. In this context, on Saturday, at a ceremony in Rio de Janeiro, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva once again stated that Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinians.
What the Israeli government is doing against the Palestinian people is not war, it's genocide because it's killing women and children.
Also in Latin America, in Bogotá, Colombia, citizens and organizations staged a cultural event in support of the Palestinians. The Bolivar Square was the scene where hundreds of citizens and organizations rallied united for the cause of the Palestinian people. With different slogans and chants, the activists demanded an immediate stop to the violence against the Arab people. The cultural event, Together for Palestine, seeks to show solidarity with the hardships of the Palestinians and to reject the genocide being inflicted by Israel. And let's now take a short break, but remember, you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Venezuela, Foreign Minister Ivan Hill received his Turkey counterpart in order to strengthen bilateral relations and cooperation between both countries. During the meeting, the diplomats discussed issues such as the upcoming state visit to Venezuela of the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. They also announced that Turkey will host a meeting of the 4th Joint Commission to be held during the month of May 2024. Areas such as mining, petrochemicals, and tourism are among the areas of cooperation between both nations.
We have seen trade cooperation between Turkey and Venezuela grow. The exchange, the import and export of products between the two countries is becoming more and more important. Venezuela has become an important supplier of petrochemicals for Turkey. Just a week ago, we had the visit of the Turkish Energy and Natural Resources Minister, and together we are planning to develop the entire Venezuelan energy sector.
In this context, Minister Hill restated Venezuela's commitment to furthering bilateral cooperation.
We are currently committed to explore opportunities in mining, to expand cooperation in telecommunications. You know, Venezuela and Türkiye have a very efficient air connection with 8 weekly flights by Turkish Airlines, and we are certain that air connection will expand in the coming months with more passenger and cargo flights.
For his part, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said that both countries entertain good relations, especially in the areas of trade, mining, and energy.
We are moving forward in our need and will to advance bilateral relations between Turkey and Venezuela. As you know, relations between Turkey and Venezuela are improving more and more, especially economic relations in trade, mining, energy, agriculture, and tourism. We have a great potential.
The Turkish Foreign Minister also stated that the presidents of both Venezuela and Türkiye have agreed to increase bilateral trade.
We have reached a turnover of $800 billion, but this year we want to increase it to $3 billion as requested by our leaders.
In other news, in Mexico, at least 10 people were killed in a car accident on a highway in the Mexican state of San Luis Potosí. The state's Attorney General's office said the accident happened early on Saturday morning at kilometer 17 in the community of El Salitre in the Rio Verde municipality. According to official reports, 5 women, 1 man, and 4 minors have died in the accident. The prosecutor's office also said the bodies were removed and transferred to the coroner's office. We go now to Argentina, where the announcement by Chubut province governor of cutting oil and gas supplies to the rest of the country, unless the national government transferred the corresponding tax funds, has won the support of all southern governors. The move announced by Chubut's governor, Ignacio Torres, comes as a response to the national government's decision to cut subsidies to companies providing transport services nationally, as well as discretionary funding to the provinces. Torres is a member of the right-wing PRO party that had so far backed presidential decisions. However, several governors from different political sectors have already showed support for Chubut's decision to fight for its resources against Milei's fund cuts. Milei had announced governors would face severe consequences after the Congress failed to pass his flagship omnibus bill. We move on to other topics. In Nicaragua on Saturday, a 5.6 magnitude earthquake shook the northwestern area of the country without causing damage nor fatalities. According to the Nicaraguan Institute of Territorial Studies, the quake occurred around 4 o'clock in the afternoon local time, with its epicenter 23 kilometers northwest of the Corinto municipality in the northwest at a depth of 34 kilometers. The agency said it resulted from the clash between the Cocos and Caribbean tectonic plates. Even though there were no victims nor material damages, the Vice President Rosario Murillo urged people to put into practice multi-threat readiness drills designed in the country for this kind of event. In Ecuador, 86,000 people have been affected by heavy rains, floods, and landslides in more than 5 provinces. The National Risk Management Office said so far 6 people are reported dead, 7 injured, and 542 people have either lost their homes or have had to evacuate, and over 19,000 houses have suffered structural damage. Authorities said that although rains are unusual this time of year, El Niño weather pattern causes an anomalous increase in seawater temperature, and they also warned that a lot more rain is expected for the remaining of February and throughout the next month of March. The government of China renewed the cold wave alert in different regions of the country where temperatures are expected to set records for this period. According to the National Meteorological Center, the minimum daily temperatures in some regions will be 5 to 7 Celsius degrees lower than normal average. Authorities urged the concerned departments to do a good preventive job and adopt measures to protect livestock, poultry, tropical and subtropical fruits, as well as aquatic products and crops in order to reduce losses due to disasters. They also called on citizens to avoid outdoor activities and urged them to take special care against the presence of ice on the roads in order to prevent accidents on the roadways. We have a final short break coming up, but before, we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and also share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back from the south. On Saturday, scores of French farmers stormed an agricultural show calling for President Emmanuel Macron's resignation as the president toured the fairgrounds. On Friday, farmers demonstrated in front of the agricultural show where some camped overnight. Other protesters took part in the procession of tractors that parked for several hours in central Paris. Across Europe, farmers have been protesting for months, arguing that red tape, new European Union regulations to tackle climate change, and unfair competition from Ukraine are making farming unprofitable. Farmers in France had scaled back protests, which included blocking highways and dumping manure in front of public buildings after Prime Minister Attal promised new measures. However, protests resumed this week ahead of the agricultural show to pressure the government to deliver on these promises and provide help.
Today you're fine, tomorrow you're dead. Farming is like that. Why? The ups and downs of climate. Everyone is suffering through it. Avian flu, fall in prices. There is always something, and therefore this is a measure you must implement immediately in front of the cameras. Say you are going to give oxygen to the farmers, and you'll see. If you do that, I guarantee you will calm everyone down.
On Saturday, Pakistan's Hamiyat Ulema Islam political workers were met with tear gas by police in Karachi as they demonstrated against alleged rigging in parliamentary elections. This was one of several protests organized by various parties across the city. Pakistan has witnessed an increase in political instability since the balloting. Candidates backed by Prime Minister Imran Khan, who was barred from running, won most seats but were short of a simple majority needed to form a government. The country's elections oversight body denies charges by Khan's party that the vote was stolen. Khan's rivals, including the former Premier Shehbaz Sharif, are trying to form a coalition government. Sharif replaced Khan after his ouster in a no-confidence vote in parliament in 2022. Khan has since been convicted of offenses deemed by his political supporters of being politically motivated to keep him out of office.
These elections were completely rigged. They were the worst in Pakistan's history. Our mandate has been stolen. We are protesting to get back our mandate. We demand that these elections be declared void and be organized again.
The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, lifted the economic, trade and travel sanctions imposed on Niger with the aim of reversing the coup d'etat staged in that country. The decision was released by the regional group's chairman, Omar Aliou Touré, after the bloc's meeting in Abuja, capital of Nigeria, aimed at addressing the existential threats facing the region, as well as urging three joint-led nations that have left the bloc to rescind their decision. Today specified that the measure is of immediate effect and due to purely humanitarian reasons to mitigate the suffering caused thereby. However, he explained that there are individual selective sanctions as well as political sanctions that remain in place. Like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and also TikTok. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.